Well, good day. This is the early morning of the 27th of August 2015, and I just got to talk to y'all for a little while. This is another episode of Alone in the Dark with Isaac David Brigmond, and basically a platform that I use to talk subjects and chit chat. So it's basically subjects and chit chat. But as I said before, yeah, I'm really getting into all this idea about the tiny house living. It makes me feel like if I could get me a shape. You know how some buildings come in shapes, like they come in okay, like if you get a shelter, whatever the shape the shelter is, then you can take it and then work on it and turn it into something. So you could have, and see, people think that living in a small, confined space is very uncomfortable. But in my world, it's not so uncomfortable because it proves that you can do it if you put your mind to it, and you could actually, I suppose, and if anybody's ever done it, you can either YouTube me or Facebook me and tell me this. But if anybody's ever lived in a van, maybe like the old vans they used to call cheese wagons, well, then it's not about where you live, but do you call it home and do you appreciate it? And I've got to tell you, I like the way I live now, but it's just something I've got to get off my chest, and I got to get done one day, and I've got to get this over with. So if I could figure out how with my budget, I'll figure it out. And also, folks, I got another subject I've been leaning towards. I am a die-hard fan of old movies and new movies, and basically the ones that catch my attention. Like, I've been looking at these movies on YouTube, and a lot of them is like, yeah, I like horror movies, and I also like religious movies, and I also like some types of romance. You ladies out there, do not get the wrong idea. There are some romantic movies men will watch and would be willing to watch with you. It's just that we get upset that when we find what we call the macho romantic movie, it ends up, let's just be friends, when the man wanted the two people to get together. If you ever get a guy to want to watch a movie with you, please hope and pray that you can get him into a movie that has the man and the woman wanting to stay together, because I like that kind of stuff when I see a movie. If I ever get into romance, and I have had my romantic movies that I like, they come off clean, that The Pursuit of Happiness. Now, not the one with Will Smith, the one with, I think his name's Frank Wheatley and Annabelle Geesh. That's an old movie, but it's an old modern movie, and it is a good one. I recommend it as an old romantic movie. But then again, I also say that what was that one movie that he did where it was about him and being in the mall? That's a good one too now. One where he was supposed to work in the mall. Was it some kind of business or something they called it? I forget what it was. Anyway, if y'all know the title of the movie, you can tell me, because I've seen it before. That's the one where he was with, what was it, Dermot Mulroney? Yeah, well, he was the bad guy. And that was a good movie too now. So I'm saying I'm weird. I know I am. Because you said you go from one of his romantic movies to his comedy, which also has a little romance in it, and you like it? Well, yeah, I do. That's about as bad as saying, why don't we make a movie one day about a killer doll who has all his body parts and he gets it on with a female? Would that work? I don't know. But I do know that, those were good movies. But then again, I'm the same guy that said that all the decades until, well, I guess still now, Saturday Night Live was good. But when you make a good movie, and you really make it good, if you want to make a sequel, please make the sequel go along with the part one and have just as much fun, even if it's different fun. Because, as we all know, you cannot be an actor and not deny, if you do deny it, then you're crazy, that you didn't play a character that you like, and you said, this is a character I played that I like. Okay, so you played a character and you liked the character you played. Nothing wrong with that. But we got to admit to it. And like Dan Aykroyd once said, one of his favorite characters that he played that he liked was Coneheads. Belzar Conehead. And I thought, well, yeah, that was a good story. And, they could have made a part two and expanded on it. They could have probably said that their daughter grew up and found out that she actually found someone that she could get along with or like, and she married him and had a baby, and even though the guy knew the truth about it, could be that Ronnie guy. But they can't do it. They got to get another guy to play him, but play him as an older guy because, as we all know, Chris Farley is dead. And that's a shame because Chris Farley could have been like the next John Candy if he'd have kept on going. That's another one, John Candy for another thing. Good actor, but you had a bad lifestyle when it comes to health, so that's why you poof into the great beyond. How about Belushi, the late Belushi? Could have been something to this day. Could have been an elderly actor to this day, playing a new part. As a matter of fact, back in the old days, when these guys like Belushi and Aykroyd and Murray and all them were in movies, a lot of them wrote their own stuff, and they basically wrote their own. They were writers and actors, and when some of them had blueprints for movies, which basically means you have scripts. Scripts is basically a blueprint in the movie business for a movie. And there's a lot of times these comedic actors had their own scripts for movies that they wanted done. Like, I'll write you the script if you make the movie kind of thing. And they would write parts in there saying, look, I'm going to write this, and you're going to make the movie, but you're going to put these actors in that I want. And it'll make a good movie. And that was like Aykroyd was doing. He, I think, wanted a place in Ghostbusters for his buddy Belushi. But Belushi died before he could do it, so it didn't work out. But and as a matter of fact, that brings up another story. I'm a fan of the Blues Brothers. I know what they are, but being that they are actors that came together and become a band, that delves into the realm of I also like Spinal Tap, and I know what they were too. And I thought the guys that were in the band were good actors. I mean, I thought that they were good actors too. We had, come on, Henry Shearer. I mean, that was a good actor. And think about it. When you have history with these people, they have their own history, as in they were in TV shows, a lot of them, before it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm up. Man, I don't sleep good at night. Okay, let me get into a subject about me and my sleep pattern. That might explain something to you. Okay. When I was a kid, and a lot of you people are like me, you stayed up at night, and all of a sudden, everybody's going to think at some point, you're going to grow out of it. Sometimes you can grow from a little immature kid to a very mature adult and still have the same sleeping pattern. You stay up at night, you don't sleep well, you sleep a little in the morning, and you get up, like you don't try to pass 10:30, and if you do, then you feel guilty about it and all that. Well, that's me. So I figure if I'm going to be up, I might as well. And I do think here that I'm allowed to make mistakes on my wording. So if I say a name of a guy that's not right, then correct me. Okay? I know half of my quiz here. Half of it you'll have to clue me in on. But I'm going to have to ask it to you. What actor that was in Spinal Tap was also in Laverne and Shirley the series? If you know that answer, then answer it through either comment or either Facebook it. You don't get, this ain't a contest thing, it's just for fun because I want to have fun with you people. Yeah, and I also want you to know that, don't you love that a lot of these guys went from regular acting and performing to being singers? Like, look at of all characters, and I don't know what he considers his music. I just say it's banjo music, and maybe he wants it to be bluegrass. Yeah, actually he does. So that would be Steve Martin. And a good actor and a good musician at that too. And I seen a video where he was on stage with the late great John Denver. And why do I say it that way? Because, come on folks, if you deny that John Denver was good, then you deny some good music, because that was good music too. And what does he have with these other guys? He was also an actor. And he has done some serious movies and he has done some comedies. So, there you go. So it's all coming to a full circle on some stuff. And and what else does he have in common with acting and singing? Well, didn't John Denver be an old god? And wasn't George Burns in the movie playing God? And didn't George Burns in some movies sing? So he technically could be called a singing actor. I just keep on with this stuff because I'm getting on a roll here with you people. And I like it because it proves a point that I can link things up with other things. But back to where I originally was going before I ran off into this acting thing. I still want my own church, even if it's a big building or a little tiny shack church like you've seen videos of, and look them up. And I want to be able to literally preach, and I want a tiny home to one day live in. Because by doing it that way, you control your life. You don't have, well, you can't do this, well, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't build it, all these restrictions when you have to deal with other people. So, when you control your own life, and you pretty much control a lot of things. So, from now on, you'd have to learn from now on. If you live where you live now, you got controlment. But I better let y'all go before I do. Like I said in that one video, if y'all want to help me in any stage of this situation, like give me a building, or either help me come up with concepts or whatever, talk to me. Either give me your info on Facebook, or tell me on comments where I can find you at on the internet, and then we'll exchange info or whatever. But God bless you, and hope you... Now remember, be at church every time you can, Wednesdays and Sundays.